for the Miami Hurricanes, I think bringing on Carson Beck is good, but like it's not like Cam Ward good, if that makes sense. And that's no discredit to him. They're just two different types of quarterbacks. And Georgia fans can probably agree towards the very end of the season. Some of those ooh, some of those games were rough. And there were a lot of and I really do think though, if Beck did not get injured in the SEC championship game, I do think it could have had a little bit of a difference and implication on how the rest of the playoff went. I really do. I really do believe that because it felt like there was a little bit of a lull towards the middle of the season, but after the final two games, the overtime craziness against Georgia Tech, moving into the SEC championship, I feel like Georgia started to click, and then the injury happened. But we'll just see how Carson Beck performs this season under a new team, new coach, new coordinator, new everything. I think, well, they got a lot. Okay, they got Notre Dame, they got Florida, and they got Florida State. Okay, and I think Miami has the same situation that North Carolina has, where their hardest games are towards the beginning of the season, because the only reason why this Virginia Tech game and this Pitt game should be difficult is because it has upset written all over it. Because up until this point, Miami would be undefeated. That's the only reason why these games, because nobody, I'll be honest, and this is no offense to any of the Hokie fans out there or any of the Panther fans, in the Steel City. But Pitt isn't being viewed, same with Virginia Tech, they're not being viewed as national contenders like how Miami is. And they're not being put in that spotlight of how Miami is. And so, realistically speaking, I don't even need to look at these games right here because it's like, there's, win, 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 win. Look at those 6 easy wins that you could give them. This one, maybe. We'll just see how SMU, I was about to say Stanford, we'll see how SMU bounces back considering how last season ended when they, lost in the ACC championship game, and then, the Penn State game, which I bet they want to forget about quickly. But we'll just see how they bounce back this season. But again, look at the first half, look at the second half. 3 juggernaut teams that could potentially be fighting for a college football playoff or a national championship spotlight versus other teams where it's kind of like, we'll just see how it ebbs and flows. Because one of these teams definitely could be the Arizona State of what this season could entail. Because again, I think you're going to beat this team, you're going to beat this team, and you're going to beat this team. Okay? So there's 3 wins already. Now, you start August 31st. I think by the time we reach the end of week 5, we're going to know what kind of team Miami is. So, after all that being said, this is the point that I'm trying to get to, is we're going to find out what kind of team the Hurricanes can be if they're going to be kind of like how Cam Ward's Hurricanes were, where they have that mantra, they have the label of cardiac canes because they can just find ways to win. Because, yes, there are games like the Virginia Tech game, the Cal game, what else? I do think if a couple passes and first downs went their way, and if their defense could just get a simple stop against Syracuse, they could have won that game and went to the ACC championship. But if Miami loses to Notre Dame and Florida, and they are 2-2 after week 4, it has the makings of they could probably fall victim to what happened to the Seminoles last year, where the losses just keep tumbling. Where, who knows, maybe Miller Moss is playing phenomenal for Louisville after transferring from SC. And look at this. We finished halfway through the season, and look at that. They lost to Notre Dame, Florida, Florida State. Like they are sitting at 2-4. Now, do I think that would happen? Probably not. Like, that's why you bring Carson back on. But this first game against Notre Dame, I got to take the Irish. I really do. With all that being said, I'm going to take the Irish on the first game. Now, against Florida, they should win this game. There is no reason they should lose this game. Now, we'll see how this game goes. This is going to be a huge freaking game. I think this is going to be one of the biggest games of the season. Because, again, I think, I think they can beat Stanford. I think they can beat SMU. They can definitely beat Syracuse, and they can definitely beat NC State. Okay. So up until this point, again, right now, if they do lose to Notre Dame, I'll have them being 3-1 as we head into Week 5 against, Castellanos, a new, fresh Mike Norvell, Florida State Seminoles team up until this point would also be maybe a one-loss team, because let's see how they play against Alabama in Week 1. Well, let's just, for all intents and purposes, let's say we both have 2 3-1 teams meeting up. I definitely think that this game could dictate how the rest of this season goes, where if Carson Beck plays like garbage, it's going to steamroll, and it's going to build up a little bit. But I definitely think this tough game, I think it could be a close victory. And then again, this is where, again, look at all these games that they won in a row after losing to Notre Dame and winning all these games. One of these two teams is going to be that upset game that kind of leaves a little bit of the door to be open for an NC State to sneak in, Duke, SMU, kind of like how it was last year, Clemson, where you have all this pressure. You just won 9, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you just won 9 straight, and now you got to go play a team who's only won 3 games in the season, where Hokies have nothing to lose. This could have upset written all over it. Same with Pitt. So I would say they probably lose one of these two. Do I know which one? Nah, no clue. But if I were to make a prediction, probably this one, because then they'd bounce back and they would definitely beat Pitt. But yeah, I could see Miami being a 2-loss team. You know what? In fact, let's do this. Here. This one against Florida State, this one's not sitting right with me. I don't know why. I definitely think they can beat Florida. I think there's a lot of hype on Florida, but we'll just see. Because if Florida goes 6-6, that's nothing to be mad at, considering who Florida has to play. Florida has the hardest schedule, and Florida will be playing. If people are winning football games, I could. Well, yeah. Hold on. Let me do it. Florida could be playing a ranked team every week. Yeah, ranked. Yeah, Florida could definitely be playing a ranked team. Oh, here, let me move out of the way. Florida could be playing a ranked team every single week this next season. So that's nothing to slouch at if they lose that. So here's the thing. Let me move this one back. I'll move this one back. Let me put this as a loss. So then I'd move this, and I'd have this be a win. Because, again, I don't think they'd lose to Pitt. I don't think they'd lose to Virginia Tech. But, again, we didn't think they'd lose to Syracuse either towards the end of the season because of how well Cam Ward was playing. But they did. But I think 2 losses is probably a safe bet that I'm going to make, just because I don't think they can go 12-0, especially with first-year QB in a new place. But I don't think this Carson Beck hate on they're going to be trash. Miami's not going to be what they were without Cam Ward. Don't think that's real either. I still think Miami is a school big enough to make these big wins. I think Beck is still a good enough quarterback to go get those big wins. But we'll just see. They got to take care of business, because I think, biggest games are these 3 right here. Because if they lose all 3 of these games and then coast throughout the ACC and go undefeated in the ACC, except the loss to Florida State here, they'll be fine. They'll get in the ACC championship. You win the ACC championship, you're in the big dance. So that's my thoughts on that. Miami fans, let me know in the comments section how many wins you have them getting, and I'll see you in the next video.